Good morning and welcome to the big show. And we welcome Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, Jerry.
Morning! You just cracked me up, lah.
I mean,
We're glad.
we've been chatting with Jerry for the past 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, she came in early because she misses us so much.
Yeah, we unleashed our dirtiest jokes on her.
Oh, and we saw her blush as well.
So dirty she had to wear a raincoat today.
Anyway,
You know what? I missed all of you during the weekend for the one challenge, so I'm wearing the sports gear. No, I'm just
There you go.
you said it. Now you'll have to come down and
Exactly.
visit us at
This
Bedok
weekend,
Stadium.
this weekend. Come
Yeah, you have to.
No, not this weekend. No, we're not going to be there
No,
this
we're
weekend.
not going to be there.
The
no.
following weekend.
Following weekend.
FD is going to be there the following weekend. You go down when FD is there, since he brought it up.
But FD volunteered himself for this weekend as well. Did you hear?
Oh, is it? Okay, then this weekend is fine.
Sila,
As long as FD is there to meet you.
I'm nicely volunteering and he's going, no, not this weekend.
Okay. So this weekend is
you
there.
gave me
Huh?
off. You are the supreme leader.
Okay, there
gave
you
me
go.
off.
There you go. FD is there this coming weekend.
All right.
All of FD's fans, Balbir and all that, go and look for FD, please, this coming weekend at Bedok Stadium.
All of Balbir and Balbir.
Okay, Jerry, so we're talking about sensitive topics this morning. How parents deal with sensitive topics.
Why is it so
Yeah,
important to talk to kids about it?
Yeah. Why do we need to take into account the
lot.
kids' feelings anyway? I mean, you're the adult. You know, your kid is your kid. You can tell your kid anything,
Because I say so.
right?
if you want to train the children to be resilient, that's why you need to speak with them.
That's true.
I thought it was the other way around. You want to train your kids to be resilient? Just hit them with everything and anything.
No.
And get them to deal with it. If they can't deal with it, they're weak. If they can deal with it, they're strong. Is that?
Resistance
Okay.
training.
Oh.
Okay, since we've launched into that, the 5 A, B, C, D, E. So last week I have A, B, C. Oh no, 2 weeks ago. Now I have A, B, C, D, E. One, if we want to train them, right, to have resilience, we need to acknowledge that these issues exist.
Okay.
Because if they don't recognize that there are issues, or many of them say, okay, what? Never mind lah. And when they do that, they're dismissing and they're not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
So B, building awareness. Once we build awareness, they know what they can learn from it,
Okay.
Okay.
right? C, then they give a commitment to dealing with it.
Okay.
D, if there is anxiety, they de-escalate the anxiety, because these sensitive topics will have or will provoke a lot of anxiety within all of us. And there's a lot of discomfort. So you de-escalate the discomfort. And the last one is what we want to teach them empathy. So all the above helps to lead into coaching them, to be empathetic individuals.
Okay.
So the A, B, D, E.
So do we even get to pull the ear of our children, let's say? Because when I was growing up, right? My mom used to, pull my ears all the time, right? And initially it was very painful. But a few years later, it was okay. My ear was stronger.
You know what? I don't think that was it. Parents have a trick. They don't actually pull a child's ear. You know what they do?
What?
They hold, and the
you
child
pull.
pulls away.
Oh,
Yeah.
So if you push towards them, they're not actually pulling your ear.
right.
Parents do this. Yeah, twisting is a
Yes.
different thing.
It's almost like a
Hold
choke
and
chain. You put a choke chain on a dog,
Exactly.
right? If the dog
Pulls
pulls
away?
away, they feel discomfort.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I
that's
just want to
okay.
say, the parents who pull their ears, this is what can happen.
Oh no! These are like
Blocked out the sun for a moment there.
these are like the old wives' tales, right? Don't pull your ears too much; they'll grow.
Well, luckily you don't have an ear that's bigger than the other.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, 'cause
they're
my-
pretty
my-
even.
My
Have you
parents-
measured them?
My parents were equal opportunity. True.
That is true. That's true. Very different. Very
That's true.
different.
How did we digress so badly?
You, Glenn.
Me?
You,
So-
you,
Sorry.
Glenn.
Sorry about that. Okay, we'll continue to talk to Jerry live on the Big Show TV. In the meantime, here's 5 for...
Jerry, you deal with children, you deal with parents. What are examples of these sensitive topics?
Oh, we will come up with a lot today. I will start the ball rolling and each one of us can come up with one. Earlier we spoke about some, right? I think what brought me to this topic today was actually a lot of people asking, how do I talk to my children about education? Yeah, and there was, I think one of the ladies, one of our partners that we work with, Sharon, I'm going to about her name, she was saying, why don't you do this on Therapy Tuesdays? Why don't you teach us how to talk to our children about difficult topics? So war, racism would be one. I think each one of you can come up with one, and our fans on Facebook also can come up with their own difficult topics.
Okay. I'll start. Sex. The birds and the bees.
I knew it.
Jerry goes, I knew it.
That's really tough, right? It's every
It is.
parent's nightmare having to talk about the birds and the bees, right?
It is. Absolutely.
It is very difficult.
Awkward.
It's awkward. It's awkward. But it also depends, I feel, when you're talking about the birds and the bees, it depends on the kind of relationship you have with your child. How open are you with your child to having discussions?
Jerry?
We can talk about it slightly later. We're going through the topics first.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
So sex. For me, divorce.
okay.
For me, puberty.
Okay.
Yeah, racism. I think is a big thing. Racism and gender neutrality.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gender neutrality.
Okay.
Okay. So how do we deal with these topics, Jerry?
It's really difficult.
But so nice and diverse, right? I mean, everything that we came up with
It's very
is
different,
all
yeah.
that you actually need to cover, right? I thought what Shaun mentioned was really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's not, gender neutrality and all that is not something that we would have spoken about 30 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
relevant topic today.
Yeah.
And I've got a few more. I've got rape.
Wait.
I've got suicide.
Okay.
I've got illness and death.
Okay.
And there's
Right.
more. The recent article that came out, drugs.
Yes,
How do we
yeah.
talk to our children about drugs, vices,
Addiction.
Addictions.
addictions? Yes. I would say that I would go developmentally. That means at any age, some of these topics are actually relevant to talk to the children. So even if they are really, really young, we still can speak with them about it. For example, rape, I would link it to keeping safe. I'll teach the children who to look out for, what to do when they are caught in a situation. And I don't limit that to only the teens. I will go as young as 3-4 years old, because that's when they can run away and they can disappear from mommy and daddy. And then under those circumstances, what do you do? So they need to be able to shout, say their name, go to someone or stay in the same spot. Make sure they remain in the same spot. So several things to keep them safe. So it's really not easy because there isn't that manual. We always say that there isn't a parenting manual that we can rely on and say, step 1, do this, step 2, do that.
Okay. Let's get some of our 1FM fans who are commenting right now to maybe bring up certain topics, maybe the ones that you mentioned as well just now, Jerry. Those things that perhaps maybe we're
Suicide,
not,
weight,
that
death.
we may not be covering later on the radio, right? Maybe they can propose what they want you to talk about.
Comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we mentioned things like war, sex, racism, divorce, puberty, pregnancy, weight, suicide, death, illness, and addiction.
Yeah. So, One FM fans, what do you want Dr. Jerry to
Cover,
touch on
yeah.
and
Yeah.
cover right now? Are they saying anything?
So far,
I want Angel and FD to share also, and also Glenn and Sean, what your parents spoke to you about, because all those are valuable learnings and experiences that we have.
My parents never spoke to me about the birds and the bees. It was quite a conservative topic in my family. I just had to go out there and discover it on my own. You know, whether it was through peers or books or magazines or friends, you know, that was it. So I was never spoken to about that.
That's very interesting because I wasn't either.
Yeah.
We
I
grew
had
up
porn at home. So I hid my VHS, this porn movie, behind my cupboard. My brother had seen me do that. So he went to tell my mom.
Of course he did.
So while I was sleeping in the middle of the night, well, I mean, I hadn't fallen off to sleep yet. My mom came into the room and she was going through stuff, and she pulled the VHS out of the back of the cupboard lah. And then the light came on and she went like, "Wake up." Let me talk to you about the birds and the bees right now.
So
okay?
She did.
She did.
Okay.
Do you think everything on this tape is the right way?
Okay.
That adults do it?
Okay.
I'm not very sure. I said, no, it's wrong.
How old were you?
I was, I think in Sec 1, I think.
Had you lost your virginity yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Of course
I
not.
mean, that's a good question because
Yeah.
it depends. I mean, some kids nowadays especially start
now,
very
yeah.
early. Kids are developing a lot quicker. Girls are developing a lot quicker. They're getting their periods a lot earlier. I mean, I don't know what it is, whether it's got to do with the diet or whether it's just evolution. But back in the day, it was like girls were hitting puberty 14, 15 years old. Now they're as young as 11, 12 years old. I've heard of 9-year-olds as well.
I only lost my virginity when I was 24.
Sure you did.
Well,
right.
I've got to say though, getting back to this, I think because we live in such a conservative society, it is difficult for parents to talk to their kids about any of the topics that we have brought up.
But I feel
It is
that parents are a lot more open these days. I feel.
Younger ones.
The younger parents.
But
yeah.
if you're talking about the parents who are in their late 30s, 40s,
Yeah, which are the millennials.
it's difficult.
The millennials.
Slightly
Late
older.
30s,
No, they're
40s.
older than the millennials.
older than us.
Yeah, so I think for them it's very difficult because they're
They're
not
straddling.
quite sure.
They're straddling the two generations. Yeah.
But Glenn's mom made a very good point. She's a very wise woman because
Yeah.
what she said is, do you think that everything you see on screen is real? And what are our children exposed to these days? More screens, lots of screens. I had to tell a few 20-plus-year-old girls that love is not like the K-drama serials that they see on Netflix.
That's true.
Because
Hold on,
that
Jerry.
was-
We'll go on air. And welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room. And on The Big Show TV, you were just saying that you're telling a group of girls that love is not like what they see in K-dramas.
Not a group, but in sessions, sometimes they are very disillusioned with love. And then when you ask a little bit further, they assume that love is what they see on Netflix, on their K-dramas, which is not true at all.
Yeah.
So yes, we need to remind our children that life is not screen life. Reality is different. Yeah, so it becomes important that we impart our own values by talking to them.
Yeah, it's very hard for children nowadays because, as you mentioned earlier on the Big Show TV, kids are bombarded by more screen time now, and everything that they see on the screen is perfect. Women have perfect skin,
Yeah.
women have perfect hair. Like Glenn, you were mentioning getting caught with a pornographic tape when you were 14 years
Yeah, I
old.
was in secondary school. I was like, I was being given like these porn, videos.
And when your mom asks you, do you think that real life or sex in real life is actually like this? Despite you saying no, you probably thought there was some truth to it.
Perhaps.
At the time, because you probably thought
It's the only kind of sex I was exposed to, right?
Exactly. That's the kind of thing I need to aim for.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids nowadays as well, they're growing up with all these unrealistic expectations about how they should look, what
Yeah.
they should own, who they should date. Like you mentioned, the K-dramas as well.
Yeah.
How everything should be done.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who are just tuning in, what I said was, when I was in secondary one, I was caught with a porno tape. And my mom caught me with that and sat me down and spoke to me about the birds and the bees.
Immediately.
Yeah,
And no,
immediately,
but
yeah.
what did she say
good.
though? What did she didn't just ask you that one question whether you thought sex was like that. Did she go into detail about what goes where? And
This was a
who
long
does
time
what?
ago. No, she didn't go into detail,
Okay.
but she did tell me that sex is actually a beautiful thing, and you
Oh.
will experience it next time when you get married, and it's nothing like what you see, on the tape.
It's interesting because as an older parent, I found it very difficult dealing with topics like this because they were never dealt with me. And as a parent, when I was going to become a parent for the very first time, what I did was I spent a long time thinking of what my parents taught me. And I was very critical. Where did they go wrong? What mistakes do I not want to make? And it took a long time. It took a lot of soul searching. And then I started to talk to my children because by the time my children were born, the thought processes were different. By the time I needed to talk to them, their thought processes were different. So I had my values and what I grew up with, but I also had to figure out what they were being exposed to and find that middle ground. And man, that was tough. That was really tough.
Yeah, I think the important thing is for parents to ask them what they are chatting with their friends about. So rather than asking how's your day at school, ask what have you all been chatting about? What are some topics that you and your friends have been chatting about? It's quite interesting to hear, and I think you'll be surprised the different topics that the children engage in, including their discussion on war, on gender neutrality, or even on their own bodies, body changes. So it's quite interesting what they chat about. And I don't think we do it. I don't remember doing it with my friends. I mean, yes, we go, oh, I've got stomach ache because I've got my period. But other than that, we don't discuss the nitty-gritty details. But these days, the children do.
Yeah. And that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
I feel that
it
they're
is.
so in touch with, themselves, their
Yes.
feelings, their bodies.
Yeah, that is true. So, Jerry, you're a parent of younger children. How do you broach the subject with your kids? Sensitive topics.
So it's interesting. So when we talk about the girls hitting puberty or having their periods early, I think prior to that, the school have done a really good job introducing the topic already. And, riding on that, I was able to then say, oh, you let me know whenever it happens. Do you have a pad in your bag? Have you prepared it? Shall we prepare it? Shall we buy a cute little bag for you? So that would be something, to prepare them and letting them know that there's an open door anytime. There's nothing, shameful about it. And when we don't treat it with shame, they won't also.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing is the shame.
Yeah.
But
So
again,
they
the-
don't feel guilty.
Yeah, but again, Jerry, this goes back to building a relationship with your child from a very young age, doesn't it?
It is more that open communication. So yes, you build that relationship, but it also depends what kind of relationship. So parents who at this stage say, oh, I want to talk to my child about the birds and the bees and about sensitive topic, but has never started talking to their children at the from birth, that I don't think that would happen at this stage. So what happens would be now they would be either chiding them, preventing them from doing things, saying no, 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 you can't do this, no, you can't do that, rather than talking to the children about it.
All right.
Okay.
Dr. Geraldine Tan will answer some Facebook questions on the Big Show TV in the meantime.
Okay, so before that, we also asked people about some of the sensitive topics that they want to bring up. Alun says politics.
Politics, okay.
Frida says childbirth. We have school bullies. Boy-girl relationships at young age for politics as well. Masturbation.
Oh, wow, okay.
Cyberbullying as well. And the importance of studies.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And things like condoms and what to use and what to do with them. Yeah.
Sex education.
Oh, at what age? My goodness.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask Dr. Jerry. Like, how old do you broach these topics? You know, how
Yeah.
old are the kids when you broach these topics, or do they all vary depending on what you're talking about?
It varies. Like masturbation, we don't talk to a 3-year-old or 3-year-old about masturbation, right? But bullying, you probably have to start them very young to let them know how to protect themselves. Again, it's that topic about safety. But you do need to speak in the language that they understand. So at each developmental stage, when you broach any topic, please use language that they understand. Be a bit more concrete for the little ones, a bit more conceptual for the teens, and don't be afraid. I think a lot of parents use words and they skirt around the issue. Don't. When you do that, you indicate to the child that you're scared of the topic.
I was going to ask you how not all parents have that sort of tone or ability to speak to their kids.
The instinct, right?
The instinct, using the correct language, not skirting around the issue. I mean, how do they broach it? The first tip that you gave was very interesting. I thought that everyone can do is to ask kids what they're talking about with their peers, which is a good start instead of just saying, what did you learn in school? Did you have a good day and stuff like that? But then how do they take it further? Because not all parents are able to do that.
Okay, so that's where I want parents to check in with their own comfort level. Sometimes it's our discomfort. That's why we cannot broach the subject, not because the children don't want to broach the subject. So, for example, in sessions, the teens would talk to me about, they are pretty open, and I will ask them, do you watch porn? And they would say, yes. I mean, it's part of the therapy. Auntie Jerry is not being perverted here, okay? So, and they say this, which is very interesting. Auntie Jerry, I'm glad that I'm able to talk to you about this, okay? And I say, then what do you talk to your parents? Or they go, or they don't want to broach the subject at all. Yeah, so our own comfort is very, very important when we go to the children. Do not go to their child and try and start a topic that you're uncomfortable about. Then I would rather you not approach it at all, because it will send the wrong signal to the child.
Then that's kind of an easy way out for the parents, because a lot of parents will just say, I'm not comfortable with it, that's why I never spoke to the child about it.
So when we have parenting, usually we have two. Sometimes we have one, but usually we have two. So the other person can then take the lead and talk to the child. Sometimes it's interesting because it is not the parents that speak with the child. It can be the grandparents that speak with the children about it, or the grandchildren about it.
Right.
That's interesting.
I think this is one of the most challenging times to bring up a child.
Parent,
It's
It is.
this is a messed up world we're living in, man.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
It's,
why a lot of people choose not to have children these days.
Yeah.
it's tough, It's really, really tough.
Yeah, so much to deal
I can't
with.
imagine it. No.
Yeah.
Really.
I think when you have children, your mindset changes.
Yeah.
when you make the decision to have a child, your mindset changes.
That's you, Lavdi.
No, I
No.
think everybody.
No
I think
choice,
everybody.
No, I
have
don't
already,
think
right?
so. I mean,
No, I think everybody does.
as
Your
much as we
mindset
know there are
changes.
good parents out there, there are parents who are
Not very good.
not very good,
Yeah.
or are struggling, who need help,
True.
Yeah.
who are frustrated right
But
now.
that's why we have people like Jerry.
and but how many people go and see someone like Jerry,
They should.
right?
They should. If you need help, the most important thing is to acknowledge that you need help and then go and get that help.
Again, a lot of people won't acknowledge that they need help.
to.
You know.
They need to.
Yeah. In the end, children will get abused.
Yeah.
It's so easy for a frustrated parent to abuse their kid,
Yeah.
maybe even unknowingly.
Yeah.
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 Just venting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
You know?
abuse is not just physical, right?
Yeah.
It can be
It's not.
emotional
It's
as well.
not. It's not. It's not.
They were advocating for a family physician for each family.
Yeah.
They should have a family psychologist for each family.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think so, though, Jerry? I mean, every time I watch like American movies or sort of Western, I think very typically American, everyone sees a psychologist. Is that something that people around the world need to be doing? Like you just mentioned, families need to have a family psychologist. Is it necessary?
I would always, I mean, I would say that there's the health checkup. So why can't we have a mental health
Wellness
checkup?
checkups, yeah.
Yeah, and the clarity of thought. That means if your emotions, your brain is feeling a little bit foggy. Why don't you go and sit with someone to clear those thoughts? So a lot of people.
Okay,
think
Jerry, hold
that
on. Hold on, Jerry. I think let's ask Jerry
Okay,
that question.
okay.
I think it's very important.
Now.
I have a final question for Dr. Jerry before we
Okay.
let you go. I mean, time with you, Dr. Jerry, always passes so quickly, and so we need to let you go soon. But my question earlier on on Facebook TV was that you had mentioned, as much as you think families should grow up with a medical doctor, as in a physical
Yep.
medical doctor, they should also
Yep.
grow up with a mental wellness psychologist like yourself or anyone else. And we watch all these movies from the US, and we watch all the TV series, and kids as young as 5, 6 years old are going to see psychologists and all that. Is this just a Western thing, or is it something that you highly recommend people have in their lives?
I think if we come round to the understanding that, when we have like foggy brains and very stuck, thoughts, and we go to someone to just have clarity, the psychologist doesn't just diagnose all the disorders, but also works with you to find the answer. We don't give advice. A lot of people think that we give advice. No. By talking to you, you gain clarity and you gain control over your own life. How beautiful is that, right? So the family psychologist that I have in mind is they not only work with the parents, but as a parent, with the individual, as the individual, takes the decision to take on a partner, set up a family, have children. The psychologist can grow with the family, and I've done that with a few people, and it's such a wonderful journey to have with each one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Go
you
for
put
it.
it you put it right. If you can have a physical doctor, why can't you have a doctor for your mental health as well?
Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
I think in this day,
Usually the issue is money. Let me just tell you
Yeah.
that. Because even for people who go for medical checkups and all, and the people who don't go for medical
Yeah.
checkups, right? Those people who don't go for medical checkups, they're thinking like, I don't want to spend the money.
Yeah,
lah."
no, yeah, it's true.
But
yeah.
you have to understand that it's money well spent.
yeah.
Yes.
And I
It's-
think in
yeah.
today's age, everybody will need to see a psychologist at some point. You just need to clear
clarity,
the,
yeah.
the mess that's in your brain.
If you take care of your external, why don't take care of your internal?
No, that is true.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so true.
Okay.
And it's not like
So-
you're going to have to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist like every week, every
No.
day. No.
Oh.
At least be open to seeing a psychologist or a psychiatrist as and when you
Yeah.
feel you need to
Need
talk
to
to
check
someone.
in.
Don't go
Yeah.
talk to your friends who will give you bad advice.
Yeah.
Go and see a
Exactly.
professional. Much
Yeah.
better,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, Jerry.
Anyway, I know the next guest is almost here outside, so I'm gonna just end with a little quote from Barack Obama on parenting. So he says, as fathers, we need to be involved in our children's life, not just when it's convenient or easy, and not just when they are doing well, but when it's difficult and thankless and they are struggling. That is
So
when
true.
they need us most.
So
And
true.
it applies to fathers and
And
mothers.
mothers.
Yes, it
yeah.
does.
Yeah. Nicely said.
Thank you very much, Jerry, for joining us today.
Happy both, all of you.
Next week.
Next
See
week.
Take
you.
care.
All right. Have a wonderful day and have a good time with the kids. I know you've got a session with the kids today.
Workshop. We have the workshop for children this afternoon.
Lovely.
All
Enjoy
right.
that.
Give them all a big hug from the Big Show.
Will do. Send
All
you
right.
love to them.